Welcome to A Gentleman's Guide. Tom Van.
Dan Dennis.
Steve Kramer.
So, Steve, I know before we started recording, Daniel and I were telling you about this documentary on Netflix. Daniel doesn't usually watch documentaries,
No, but I like this guy, and I knew
Yeah.
I saw his face, and I go, oh, I remember that guy because we didn't have a ton of channels, in my house. We weren't the richest family. We didn't have the best cable, and Walter Mercado was occasionally on the daytime television.
Yeah, and so this documentary was about Walter Mercado, and
I think it's called Mucho Amor or Mucho Amor.
yeah, that was a sign off, and huge down in South America,
Miami's
Brazil,
a god.
Miami.
Yeah, and
is,
I think he died, and his second home was in Miami, but in
Caribbean,
Miami he literally was Jesus.
and so basically did an astrology show and started off with that, like cable access, and it just blew up.
Yeah.
Now, without ruining it, because it's a great documentary. The what?
He reminds me of my grandma. I'm looking at pictures of him.
Yes.
Well, that was the thing is, and
grandma
they
hair.
brought on this lady to kind of describe him. Yeah, he had like grandma hair, but like he had hair that was not quite man's hair, but it wasn't quite grandma hair. It was like in between.
Yeah.
And then he had facial features that weren't quite a woman, but weren't quite a man.
With
but
a lot of
He was
Botox.
androgynous.
yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He was like Spanish numerology David Bowie.
Yeah. Androgynous,
Except,
asexual.
like, almost, though, his style is almost a little more Liberace.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got capes. He's got a lot of rhinestones
the
sewn
cape-
in. He's got a lot of big rings.
They go
some
into
bolo
the
ties.
cape thing, and the cape thing was like actually one of his assistant. Like they kind of came up with a gimmick. They're like, what style do you really like? But anyway, watch the documentary. It's really, really good. And like Tom said, I don't want to spoil any of it.
And
There is a twist in there where you'll go like, whoa, that guy is not Walter.
Yeah.
Somebody else. You'll be like, oof,
so
that guy's bad.
It seems throughout the whole documentary that he really had good intentions, and he just wanted to like be this over-the-top character and be presenting this like his astrology.
But it was
and
always
the-
positive. He never said anything negative.
Yeah. It wasn't like he was pretending to talk to dead relatives or anything like that. It was
But
just
it
like,
also didn't come off like, I've been talking about that thing that some people have that makes me weirded out where I don't get a good vibe from him. I got a good vibe from him. Even though he
Yeah.
was always positive, it seemed very genuine.
Yeah,
like it
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
seem like
My aunt used to do tarot, and she told me, she gave me a tarot deck, and she would always tell me, if you only tell the good things. If you get the bad vibe, just skip that one and only go to the good things.
Yeah.
So did he kind of have that positive approach, Daniel?
Yeah, he did. But Steve, the thing is, he like when he said things, he had a certain delivery where it's very believable. Like the things coming out of his mouth when he was telling you like, Capricorn, or like when he's talking about what a Capricorn would have. Like you'd legitimately like Lin-Manuel's in the documentary. It's really good.
I mean,
Cool. Yeah, I'll check it out.
So, but the legal question I wanted to ask you, Steve, is like through the documentary, they show this lawyer got a hold of him,
And we probably thought the same thing because there is a portion of this where you're reading the contract where you're like,
Really?
is that possible?
Yeah. There's a lot like Clear Channel's old contracts, or probably still the same ones, where they own your name and likeness. But this contract basically that. And this guy was into being who he was and not obviously a savvy businessman or a lawyer or whatever. And he said
That wasn't his side.
he
no.
said he got his lawyer to look over it, but that's questionable because no lawyer with two brain cells would tell you to sign this contract, because once they went over what he signed, basically he signed his name, his likeness, every single thing that he did, like his whole persona, and
the thing that really
everything over to this guy.
It was
I
everything.
want to see if I can pull up the contract. I want to see.
Steve, if you type in Walter Mercado contract, they might actually have it. But the thing that really, I laughed out loud when I saw it was, like Tom said, it was for everything. So, Steven, imagine a contract that basically says, we own everything and your name for eternity. It says eternity in the contract. And I'm like, that to me, I'm like, well, you can't do, can you? Is that a thing?
So that's what I wanted to ask
Eternity?
you, Steve, is say like you have a person and he's not, let's say he's a a smart adult, but he's not into law. He's like very
Tom Van, this could happen to me.
Yeah,
I'm not good at this stuff. I don't like this stuff.
So
that's why you got me.
So
Right.
That's why you have me.
maybe easily manipulated or whatever. So could like a court, like say you make this ridiculous contract, and I'm trying to think of who, say it's us, right? So me and Daniel, we're having fun doing the podcast, running the small business,
Plugging right along.
and then we get swindled. Let's just say you, Steve. You come to us, you're like, hey, I can make you guys rich beyond your wildest dreams, which this guy did, but the problem was he did make him rich, but then owned the majority of everything and made himself rich even more than Walter. And then in the middle of it, once he had all this huge, this gigantic name and all these syndications and all this money and stuff, then people started to realize, like, hey, this guy owns everything. Like, this is all his, not really yours. Like, he's paying you, but you're taking 10%, he's taking 90%.
Yeah.
Like, it was all like completely one-sided. But so say you come to us and then you present this contract, you swindle us basically and say like, hey, sign this. I own the rights to Tom Van, Daniel Dennis, Mediocre Time, every entity, everything you record.
For eternity.
For eternity. So anything you ever record for the rest of your life
is mine.
I own, and then there's some other stipulations about how you pay us percentages and all the stuff, but like some ridiculous one-sided contract. Now we sign it because we're naive or ignorant to what it means. Is there any recourse after? Can a judge be like, well, this is so one-sided that it's absurd and not legally binding?
So that's a lot of questions in one.
That's what I wanted to do.
They call him Big Question King.
They
call him Big T, the loaded question king.
I could have kept going.
I noticed you gave him the medium.
Out. I mean, sometimes they can be long.
Steven,
anyway,
he gave you the medium. He had a large and extra large. Ready.
Yeah, it could have been the whole show.
Oh,
one question.
Buddy, I was sitting here. I almost got up and took a poop.
And I'll answer it for you. Because I know.
I know you in the question itself. So, can a contract last for eternity? No, right? And with specifically when you talk about real estate planning, certain types of situations, most states have some type of rule against perpetuities, and that means the contract can't last in perpetuity. And there's a concept we study in law school called the octogenarian rule. Anyway, those are all different kinds of rules that deal with the terms of and the length of contracts. And some state, and it also depends by the state. So, like in California, and remember, I'm not a California lawyer, so I don't know it in detail, but I do know they have restrictions on contracts that are basically indefinite service contracts. I think they're restricted to a certain length of time, and I think that's actually 7 years, and I think that really dates to common law origins and maybe concepts around indentured servitude, et cetera. But basically, the idea is somebody can't become a slave to somebody else. They can't become beholden to somebody for all of eternity, and there's protections in place to deal with that. And one of the protections in place is called the statute of frauds, and that, for instance, deals with like contracts. If they last for over a year, they generally should be in writing, right?
Sure.
And contracts have to have a way to end, right? So certainly, he may have been able to sign a contract that signed over his rights and his name and likeness and the ability to use a trade name, and he may have surrendered that to the other party. But as far as being beholden to them to offer them services and be indentured to them for eternity, there has to be a way to end a contract. And, effectively, what happens if he breaches the contract? What if he says he's not going to do that anymore? And then the courts would generally sort out, what the damages would be and how that termination would work out. You bring up another good point. If a contract is so lopsided, can it be attacked and be just invalidated in and of itself? And there's, we can get. There are entire courses dedicated to contracts in law school. The first course that we take, the first semester when I was in law school, is an entire semester on contracts, and that's just the very introduction. So there's all different ways to attack a contract. That's kind of my jam. You know, that's what I like contracts a lot. I really excelled in that. I was close with my contracts professor. You know, there's concepts like this idea of mutual mistake. You know, that the parties had a fundamental misunderstanding of the agreement. There's undue influence. There's there's a number of different concepts that come into play that can invalidate a contract. And I tell you, I don't care what that contract said. That guy comes to me, I'm going to find a way to get him out of it. You know, period. Yeah. And you know, the only question is, what's going to be the cost of getting out of it? Is he going to get out of it without any consequence? Is he actually going to get money from the other side, or is he going to wind up having to pay some amount of money or some amount of damages? Or fulfill some terms of the contract. But no matter what, I'm getting him out of that.
Yeah, I think it ended up like the whole battle and stuff. He ended up getting out of it, but it took so much out of him and took so much money that it kind of deflated his progress, and he kind of just slid into obscurity.
Also, things go in and out of style. So if you think about it, I think this happens a lot with entertainers. Let's say, I'm trying to think of somebody recent. Let's just say this. What's that?
It happens all the time. I mean, you say people, you know, why would they say sign a contract like that? The reality is most people that are listening to the show right now have signed contracts similar to that.
Yeah.
You know, you have these things called end user license agreements, EULAs. It's on software, it's on your iPhone, it's on everything related to technology. And these things, you know, are thousands and thousands and thousands of words. And nobody reads those. Nobody reads those, and they click on the I accept, and then they're beholden to it. Or you go into a theme park, let's say. You know, how many times have you read the back of your ticket to Disney or whatever theme park you go to?
Every single time.
The answer is no one does.
No one does. No, I never have.
They have all kinds of restrictions and limitations, and they constitute contract, and essentially what they're called contracts of adhesion. And you don't have much of a choice. And we sign those all the time. Now, but when you talk about a business deal, you know, it's worthwhile to take some time and do it right.
Yeah, I was thinking of like for music, like, you know, like an artist like Kesha.
Yeah.
Remember, I think maybe 5 or 7 years ago or so, I think she got into like a battle. You know, we've heard about, you know,
their
like
manager.
Taylor Swift being, you know, and stuff like that. Taylor Swift doesn't fit my idea. Kesha kind of does, in the fact that, let's say you get tied up, you're wasting all your money, you can't get to the studio, this is super, super busy, or maybe legally you can't even get to your own catalog or something like that. And then by the time you get out of it, your style of music has changed. And that's kind of what happened to Walter Mercado. It's like by the time he got his name back and was ready to go,
it wasn't as popular.
Yeah, it's like, well, the whole astrology thing, had you been a part of it, you would have been able to still do it.
Yeah.
But you've lost your momentum. You've lost that little bit of inertia you had.
Yeah.
Or maybe, you know, you were hot at the moment, and by the time you get out of the contract, you're just not anymore. You know, time has passed you by. You've expended that creative energy that you had, and maybe, you know, you're not at a point where you're as marketable or at producing as much. But, you know, so we talk about what about in business or in music or whatever, who would sign those contracts, and people do it all the time. I mean, I've signed a number of music contracts, you know, and represented people that have signed them. I've represented record labels and artists and, you know, friends with people in the industry. And in many of those contracts are awful deals. I mean, awful deals. And you can tell it's like a trajectory, right? And even though almost no starting deal for like first record is a fantastic deal, you know, for a non-proven, unestablished band, you know, having a lawyer and representatives there to advocate for you is like a huge difference in trajectory. Like you fast forward down the road and the result can be lifetimes of. These people sign these contracts and they're awful though, but they sign them because they're not concerned with the minutia or the nitty gritty. They're concerned about I want to be a rock star. I want to be famous. I want to, you know, whatever little tweaks that can be done that can make a huge difference in those contracts.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, because people sign the contracts while they're poor and up and coming. And
that's right.
You know,
it seems like a lot of money.
Yeah, they're just like, all right, well, I'll give you 40% of everything I earn. I'm not earning anything. So it doesn't, before you have all this stuff and the goal of getting rich and famous blinds you from the minutia, like you said, of the details in the contract. That now you would never sign this after you had money and you were already established, but you're like, well, I'll do this
because first shot and you're young, and if you don't have somebody advising you, I mean, I've helped a lot of artists in that situation, and it's like the two things that I'm always most concerned about is, when do you ever get your masters back, or do you have an option to buy them ever in the future? Because let me back up. So like explaining like a band and when they sign a contract, there's different portions of rights that they give to the company, right? So, you've got the songwriting credits. That's the songwriting and producer credits. And, I'm of the opinion that a band should never sign those over to the label. Then you've got you've got the master sound recordings. That's the actual sound recording of the record, right? And typically most labels own those, and they want to own them forever because, their idea is, well, even if this band gets big, we'll still own the back catalog.
Right.
And, I like to see some type of option for artists to recover that at some point in the future, some type of, buyout clause or something. And then you've got, the duration of that agreement and the ways to get out of it. And that matters too, how many contracts over how many years. And the single most important thing is creative control. That artist should maintain creative control over their product, because you hear horror stories about artists and you hear the same thing in TV and film, where they created something and they wound up with a Frankenstein product that hit the screen that destroyed their career.
Yeah. And then it's funny because it's like back when we used to work for a corporation, and you're the person that's on the presenting side of, like, entertainment wise. Sure. And so you're the one that's on TV or on the radio, or, you're the personality that people are watching, and the corporation often making decisions, and then you're presenting them or you're a part of them, and then you're
frontline.
Yeah, you get the blame for it, or you're the face on what the decision was. And then the corporation can be like, like they're behind the scenes.
It was him.
Yeah, and so
Get him.
like the person that's often presenting gets the brunt of whatever backlash.
Correct.
Even if it was the company that employs them's idea.
Well, that's why it feels better though to be calling the shots versus being told what to do.
Hard to do though. Got a lot of companies. Companies would rather not give you creative control.
Right.
It's like you need leverage to sign that. So when you start up and you're not a big name yet, then they have a lot more leverage to be like, hey, sign over creative control, or we're not going to let you even be on our thing.
And another thing, not only that, but I think in Walter's case, to kind of get back to his contract, I think he's just really, really sweet. I don't think he's dumb. He's certainly not dumb. He's a great performer. He's just naive, and that's just not his world. And he also is very
what he's good at.
Yeah, he's good at what he's good at. He's very naive and very trusting, and I think he's lovable. And when you have people like that, man, they're so easy to take it. Yeah. And this guy probably knew.
That's so common in artists, right? I mean, you've got people that are great at being creative, and maybe they're not always great at the business side of it, and that's why they need people. They need people that can look out for that for them.
Yeah, but
with radio, I think one of the bigger deals is protecting your name, because that's why it's a lot of times advisable to use your real name, is because, well, no matter what, you're the company can't take that away from you.
Well, iHeart still owns my real name. That's why I have to use Dan Dennis. They still own Ryan Seacrest, which is my real name. It's crazy.
Yeah.
All that money I pissed away.
Yeah, you're right, because if you have Spice Boy or whatever
69
Frogger or
they may sign over that name in perpetuity forever.
Yeah. Then
not quite perpetuity. Or like David Letterman, when he left Late Night with David Letterman, I think he had to leave a lot of their bits behind, because NBC still owned them.
Yeah.
I remember that. I know Conan had to do a lot of that, but then he tried to do the workaround. He brought out like Camel Toe Annie and the Masturbating Bear and stuff like that. And
I think they tried to pull that on me about the name thing. I think I did it with Jana. A banana.
Oh, come on. Did they really?
Well, they threatened that. They're like, well, you can't go to anywhere else and use this name, the name that got you where you are.
No, they didn't do that with me.
What was your real name?
Yeah, I know, but I'm just like,
exactly.
you can't own my real name, you dum-dums.
Yeah. But
speaking of astrology, I made this. This is a cool little thing. I don't know if you can see it.
What is that?
Oh my God, it's a Hellraiser box.
Yeah, it's like a little set of gears. So
you made it?
You whittled a set of gears?
Yeah.
No,
It's like they're all astrology symbols, and you have to match them up.
Oh my God, are you Walter Mercado? Let me see your hair.
You made that by hand?
No, I used a 3D printer, but it's pretty cool.
Okay, all right.
Nerd by hand.
Yeah, we actually, if you whittled it, a 3D printer.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Is that wood? What is that made out of?
Yeah, it's wood.
So you did so you just put in what you needed and then it like dremeled it out, or?
Yeah, it basically cuts it and then it has to be assembled. So sometimes, depending on what you make, there's design involved. And you've got to tweak it, but you've got to assemble it. You got to put it together. You may have to design it, depending on what you're doing.
How the hell do you have time to make some sort of?
I'm gonna make an astrology wheel.
Astrology doodad.
Is it for your desk? Are you drinking a root beer float?
How do you have time to make
Willy
that?
Wonka? You're Willy Wonka. You're drinking a root beer float while you made an astrology wheel.
Yeah.
This is Coke Zero.
Are you asexual like Willy Wonka?
Yeah, what are you doing, asexual Willy Wonka? Are you putting candy in your butt?
I know that.
I think you know me, Tom.
Actually, if Willy Wonka was asexual, he would not put candy in his butt. He wouldn't even be interested in that.
No, he wouldn't.
I'd be over there stroking my peppermint stick, and he'd be like, not interested. And I'm like, what? You're hetero? You're not gay? And he's like, I'm neither. I'm asexual Willy Wonka.
But do they even
mentioning Willy Wonka? It brings reminds me of Johnny Depp and that hellscape that he's in. That is a mess of a trial, and that his story is the great story about why you need good lawyers and good managers. He lost $650 million because he had bad management and bad advisors that he couldn't trust.
Did they do a ruling on that? Because I saw the photos of
happened?
The cocaine in the bottle, and I'm like, yeah, Johnny Depp.
Yeah, then he was.
No, that loss of money predates this trial. It goes back to when I think he was married to Amber Heard, and he had a sit down with his advisors, and they explained to Johnny Depp that he'd lost this huge amount of money, and then he went into a fit of rage, which isn't that surprising if you found out you lost hundreds of millions of dollars. So that happened years ago, and he was in lawsuits for years with his management and lawyers, I think. So that has nothing to do with this lawsuit, really. But it's a great example of why you need good advisors and people to look out for you. Like good handlers, because if you get the wrong people, they can just ruin your life. They can take advantage of you. Like Brian Wilson, that guy. He had a psychiatrist that he trusted that basically, used him and took over his life for 30 years. Horrible.
Brian Wilson.
Yeah, a lot of times
he's a genius.
These people's lawyers or caretakers or managers end up kind of insulating them from their friends and family. I
have a feeling Butler at some point is going to have me locked in a room and be whipping me.
No.
Richard Simmons. I'll be hiding in my house like Richard Simmons. I look like Richard Simmons.
You need to be highly manipulative and fast talking, pathological liar. Probably.
Richard Simmons is his housekeeper, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a whole weird story. But I think he likes it. There's some weird, I think Richard Simmons is just a weirdo.
He's a weirdo.
And a lot of these guys,
Actually, supposedly he's a really sweet guy. My mom, he's from New Orleans, and his brother lives there. And my mom knew his brother, and I think she'd met him a couple times, and he was just a really, really sweet, friendly man.
Yeah, I think he's sweet and friendly. Same thing with Walter Mercado, but he's a weirdo.
Here's what I want to track down. There used to be a show on cable access here in Orlando called Having a Beer with Mike, and he had a Richard Simmons impersonator named Dick Simmons. And I want to interview that guy, Dick Simmons.
I'd like to interview the Having a Beer with Mike guy just because he's
a real Trumper now, from what I understand.
Really?
I don't think he'd come in here. We're too snowflakey.
The In the old days, there were all those like local shows. Like I remember in
Cable access,
in New Orleans, there was a show that was like the horror setup. The guy was a mad scientist. I think his name was Morgus or something. And they do the late night movies or whatever. But they had those like in the old days, there were a lot more of those local personalities around the country that would do their like local shows.
Those were like the podcasts of television.
Basically.
Yeah, we're kind of talking to one today. Do you know who Weird Paul is?
No. Who's Weird Paul?
Never mind. We don't know.
I think he's a YouTuber. I don't know him either.
Weird Paul, like all the way back, like this guy's like kind of along the same lines as like a Weird Al Yankovic. Weird Paul would collect like really kitschy, odd videos, and he's always been about like, I don't know, kind of counterculture. And he's put out like 50 different like rock albums. He's like a lo-fi musician. You'd have to check him out. Did you see that link I posted? Have you heard that Nirvana AI song?
No. What is
Should
it?
I look it up?
Oh my gosh. I posted it on my Facebook a while back, but there's a dude that does like that basically works with AI, and he fed the Nirvana catalog to AI and had the AI create the song, and then I guess he recorded it, and it sounds like a Nirvana song. Like it's crazy. The lyrics, it's insane. He did this. He's done the same thing with Metallica and AC/DC.
I got it.
The AC/DC made me cry laugh. It was so good.
So the AI, artificial intelligence, created this?
Yes.
And but based on like Nirvana's,
based on like the information gathered. So like the number of chords that they use, the words that they use, the tone that they use, the mood that they use.
They just put in like Nirvana's catalog, and then they asked the computer like to create a song in this style,
in the style of all of their information.
Yes, that's right. Now, I'm unclear whether it's how much of it is just lyrics. Recycling songs. I couldn't quite place. I mean, it sounded so much like like AC/DC sounded so much like an AC/DC song that I didn't know if they were using it like parts or just a song, and I couldn't pinpoint it. But it's amazing. I mean, you should watch it. It's phenomenal.
All right,
we're at a turning point. With AI and with deep fakes. I read another article today about deep fakes being used to terrorize people and for all kinds of nefarious purposes.
It'll become God. And we're gonna play this in a minute, but Steve, you probably foresee it that there'll have to be some sort of like maybe government issued or some sort of standard where we can have a place with like people that vet it, where we know where like truth is. There have to be that, because we can't be in a society where everybody is like doesn't know where to get the right information, and everything is all fucking skewed, and like it's like we're heading that way, and it's getting bad.
I think we're there.
Yeah, we have so much relative truth already, and so much problem sorting through what's reliable and credible and what's not, that this would cripple the exchange of information and the free flow of ideas in a free society. And I think there's got to be this has to be addressed somehow to restrict it. Also, the potential for invasion of privacy, for exploitation of somebody's personality and likeness and persona. There's so many implications that go along with the potential of deep fake here, that we've got to have some type of guidance from the government as a society. Otherwise, it could be really bad for our society. And for individual people.
Listen, and I don't want the government just as much as anybody involved in shit, because they're real bad at doing their job, it seems. But something has to be. You'd have to, because you're right. As soon as it gets more and more advanced and AI becomes more, like, you could just start faking so much stuff to the point no one knows what's real. You're seeing people in video saying things, and you're like, "Is this real?" You have to go somewhere and be like,
And there's some elements of the current law that will allow translation and application to deepfake. For instance, I've got to imagine that defamation law will allow itself to be applied to deepfake in some way. So if somebody, what's the difference between somebody saying that, oh, Tom Van is a racist and said X, Y, and Z, and falsely saying that, versus them creating a deepfake video where you are literally saying that in the video. In both of those instances, it might be a false representation of Tom Van, and it might cause harm to the community and to your reputation in the community. So they're indistinguishable in that aspect. It's just the method of how that misinformation and defamatory language is spread.
Also harder to find who did it, because if you're making deep fakes, most likely you could figure out how to hide your identity.
I would imagine that'd be probably your first step, is to hide yourself.
Yeah.
Then make your deep fake.
So then no one even knows. And then from what country is it coming from?
Like, the Twitch chat room has asked that you not pull on your goozle anymore because it's creeping out the listeners.
Sorry.
And Samantha. Why are you goozle pulling?
I will quit pulling my goozle.
You want it with turkey neck.
Yeah,
I forget.
You don't want a turkey neck.
I forget sometimes.
You forget you're on camera?
Yeah.
I know, I do too. I was over here squeezing my titties and pulling on my foreskin.
I can't see you.
I know, but the listeners can see me. No. Here's some of that Nirvana just before we forget. All right, this guy's got like a whole setup about. Okay, here it is. He's making a Nirvana song. He fed it in to write the lyrics.
And this is called.
Okay, it just sounds like garbage to me.
But are they just taking like
it
chords
sounds like they
from...
just took lyrics to make other lyrics.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that they took the chords. I know they took the lyrics for sure.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The results on that with that guy's videos are random though. Like the AC/DC, the song is I think it's called Great Balls, and it made me cry laugh. It's so funny.
So, Steve, while we have 10 or 15 minutes, tell us about the book you're writing. You said,
I didn't know anything about this.
I hate to even say anything about it because, I'd rather generally wait till stuff is done to mention it. But I don't know. You asked how did I do the astrology little wheel there and do stuff in general, and I'm like I like to always be doing something. I like to always be working on something, and I decided to start writing on basically a lot of the stuff that we talk about. So about style, and then collecting things like collectibles of all different types. And things that interested me, so that's what I've been writing on. And I started when I had a lot more time when the lockdown started.
Yeah.
I just was like, well, let me utilize this time for something productive. I basically we're in Groundhog Day at that point. Every day is the same during that lockdown. So why not take advantage and be like Bill Murray at the end of Groundhog Day and do something productive?
I did the same thing. I got my journal out when we first started lockdown, and I wrote for the 2. First days, of lockdown, and then the rest of the time I just got drunk, and I just stopped. I was just fuck it.
Well, that's why I hate saying is I've started a bunch of ideas over the years. I've written a lot of articles, obviously, and I've published a lot.
Yeah.
But as far as a book, I've started a lot of projects and then put them down. So this one's a little bit different. I'm a lot further. I'm more than halfway done, I would say, at this point.
Yeah. Shit.
But yeah, what's crazy though is researching things. Like yesterday, I was writing about your setting up your gentleman's bar and lounge area. So I have to do a lot of research. So I was talking about I was writing about whiskeys yesterday, and I was writing about Blanton's whiskey, for instance.
Sure.
And I know everything there is to know about Blanton's now.
Yeah, it's good to do that. I worry though, kind of going back to what you guys are just talking about even doing research. I think it's harder to do research now because you find so many things that are not real. And then you got to, dig through that more. You know?
Well,
did you find it's hard? Are you finding more facts, Steven, or are you finding a lot of opinion?
Well, I mean, when you're talking about the stuff that I'm researching has reliable sources. You know, researching about the origins and story behind a whiskey and how it's produced is a lot easier to find than something political or that has social significance. You know, reading about a company that I bought this set of like poker chips that was made in Italy, and reading about that company is a reliable. You know, it's a lot easier to find reliable sources for that than if I was like, is this vaccine for coronavirus going to be good or not? You know, that's a lot different.
I did type that in, and it said no. That's weird.
Let me ask you about the psychology of collections. So
I've been getting a lot of email about collections. Something's in the air.
Really?
I think it's free time. Yeah, I had a guy yesterday write to us about miniatures, painting metal miniatures.
Not really?
Yeah.
I've never.
That's funny. I was looking at some of those recently.
I've never had collections of anything really. I'm mentally fucked up in that regard, but so there's two elements that I'm looking at here with collections.
Are you starting a collection?
No. I don't have it in me to.
I was gonna say maybe you should try.
I don't have any want to do it, and partly maybe because I don't understand what you're getting out of it. So I can imagine people have collections for two different reasons, and maybe sometimes both. One is to enjoy them themselves, like say you got a room and you got a room full of a collection of something.
I used to do that, yeah, toys or figurines.
When you walk into that room, you enjoy the fact that you have this collection, and it gives you obviously some sort of enjoyment, or it spikes your dopamine or whatever the hell. Like you're getting a positive thing.
Sure,
because there's a lot of time and money.
It's comforting to you.
Yeah, maybe it's comforting. And then I imagine there's another part of it is like showing off your collection, like having other people come in and like talking about it, impressing them. Like, hey, look at this. And then there's like
I have a collection.
There's some gratitude that you get, or like some positive feelings of like showing people what you collected.
Like movie guys do that. Like, this is my movie collection.
Yeah.
You
and so they want to show it off. So it's like personal, and then the show off part. And then I imagine some people are all one or the other, or some both. But is that it?
I would say that there's a lot of factors at play. You know, the first thing is there's a big difference between collecting and hoarding. And, once what you're doing becomes hoarding, that is psychologically detrimental and maybe even detrimental to your physical health at a certain point. So that's the first thing, is to understand that there's a line there. The next is, why do people collect? I think, they collect things that they're interested in, that they're passionate about. There's an emotional component to it. Maybe it represents something that it reminds them of being younger. Maybe it reminds them of their youth. That's, I think, why like video games are on the upswing right now, and why people are collecting them is, one, they have nostalgia for the fun and enjoyment they had at an earlier age. An age where they were maybe more innocent and remember fondly. And then two, because those video games have cultural and artistic value. But, there's an emotional connection to collecting things. And then I think there's like almost like a Jungian element to it, which is that we're almost programmed on like an evolutionary anthropological basis to like collect things like nuts and berries. Like there's an origin there for that drives us deep into our DNA. Although my book is like, I've got stuff on collecting, but a lot of it is also about like style and decor. Like, I'm not going to collect 50 different types of rocks glasses for my bar, but I think it's cool to highlight some that you might want, that might interest, a reader.
Yeah, like some unique ones. Like digital music has ruined the music collection for me. Like I used to take a lot of pride in both my CDs, that was normally what I collected. And then as digital music, now I've started to get a little back in.
Well, it's almost like, Daniel, it was almost like a catalog for what made you, right?
Yeah. It was like, all your influences, the things that you liked. I mean, places that you'd like to go, music that reminded you of that. Now digital music, and it's kind of in a weird way defeated the purpose. Like, I thought of this the other day when I was driving around. I was like, man, like I can't think of anything I want to listen to today. But that never happened when I just had my CD book. I knew exactly what I wanted to listen to. But now that I can like
crippled by choices, right?
Yeah, like now that I can go to anything I want, I have a very difficult time finding exactly what I want.
Yeah.
And I kind of hate it. It's very frustrating to me. Like I enjoy.
I agree. It's the Netflix effect.
I really feel like I enjoyed music more, and I don't think it was an age thing. I don't, because like I still love music right now as much as I did when I played it, or you know, like I love music. It's one of my favorite things. I love it more than talk. But I don't listen to it the same way, and there's a weird disconnect there. When I had my CD booklet, man, it was like it invigorated me. Now I get more frustrated with choices.
Yeah, you know what?
I hate it.
Crystal was talking about this last night as far as like with a lot of different things. And you know what's funny is as we've proven, psychologists have proven that in business, let's say, if you give a customer too many options, it's actually bad.
In
it's
restaurants,
detrimental.
you can ask Juan.
Menus.
In restaurants with menus, when your menu's immense, you're fucking yourself over.
So any professional restaurateur will tell you like never put too many things on your menu. It'll actually be detrimental to your sales because they get overwhelmed.
Find your specialties. What do you kick ass at?
I mean, honestly, it's what Costco figured out. They went ultra on one side, and they're like, we're just gonna have one type of ketchup, one mayonnaise. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not, you know, they're not giving you a bunch of options. But so we know that, and that's proven, and business has proven that. And then we went, and now as a society, we're like, well, we know that giving too many options is bad for people, but we're gonna do it anyway. Infinity options, you know, like and
like the contract.
Yeah, well, so now all these like different services and stuff give you infinity options with entertainment, and podcast gives you infinity options and stuff, and I think it's fucking people up. It's like people don't know how to handle it, and that's actually detrimental to their entertainment.
Like Steve, I went yesterday. I couldn't find what to listen to. I just went, and I never do this. I went to satellite radio. I have a free trial, and I went to a channel called Soul Town. And it just gave me all Motown music, and I'm like, there, perfect. And I got this wash of relief came over me. I'm just like, okay, I don't have to choose anymore. There it is, great music.
Yeah.
Oh, who's that?
You know who was a great student of and understood, I think, people and how people think and operate maybe better than anybody is the author Dostoevsky. And like it's like a theme that runs through a lot of his works, like in the Grand Inquisitor and maybe even in the Brothers Karamazov. There's an element about people where people actually, they don't like freedom. Like the pressure that freedom places on people can be crippling. And you know, this is like a manifestation at almost a micro level of that. It happens with Netflix too. Like people sit there and they look for, you know, hours trying to figure out what to watch on Netflix and never actually select the show. And I think you're right, Daniel, with music. Like that's actually why I've retreated into my collection of vinyl more than ever now. Is one, because it's something tangible in this digital world, and then, you know, two, because I've curated what I really, really love, and I don't need the rest of the noise. Like
it's easy.
And three, I enjoy the tactile experience. And I enjoy being forced to slow down. Like I can't change it that quick. I can't fast forward the track. I can't let my limited attention span get the best of me. And then I think it sounds great. But so I wrote a chapter in my book about vinyl and collecting, you know, vinyl records and why they're great.
Yeah, I do think that there is something very therapeutic. In a weird way, I'm regressing in my music taste to go back to being totally okay with DJs. I don't necessarily want you to talk a lot, but you can select all the music for me. That's totally cool. Give me something I've never heard. I'll sit through it. Why not?
You should listen to my playlist, Daniel. I've got a bunch on Spotify that I made so that I would never have to like choose again. There's a good variety of stuff in there.
Yeah, email me. I'd love to check it out. I know I have one of your.
Or we can collaborate on them.
All right, I got one of your playlists that you gave me that was really, really good. So I'm always welcoming that.
You think society, Steve, is going to realize that that giving people way too many options with everything is? I mean,
that's funny.
And then regress.
Bring that up because that's happening right now. So, like one of the things that's happened from coronavirus is that supply chains have been challenged, right? So before the coronavirus, there were like, I don't remember exactly the number, but dozens of different types of toilet paper on the market. And then, of course, we saw the toilet paper rush, and that shelves were cleared. And what companies have, and in response to this, with a variety of different types of products, companies have realized that less choices might be a better option for consumers. So what they're saying is that the thousands of purchasing options that people have, had before coronavirus will likely be whittled down when we come out of it, because one, supply chains have been challenged and they've pared down, and two, they've realized that maybe people don't need quite as many choices. Maybe they don't need 30 different types of ruffles, just ruffles. Maybe they don't need low salt, ruffles, low fat ruffles with this, ruffles with that.
I love ruffles. That's my favorite potato chip is Ruffles.
The only problem is that besides from like big corporations limiting the brands that they put out, the internet and with entertainment, like especially with people more and more doing it themselves, and like YouTube and like the ability to podcast and to just create your own entertainment. It's like you can't limit that, because that's the world just dumping the stuff on the internet. I think you could probably categorize it better, where like your cell phone or your own personal technology will know you enough to present to you limited options to help.
Maybe that speaks to Daniel's thing with DJs, that we need people. Maybe there's a market in the future for curators, people to step in, and maybe that's AI or maybe that's people.
I mean, I like it. Like if I go to Spotify and let's say I want to listen to classic reggae from Trojan Records, let's say, all right?
Yeah.
Because that just happened last weekend. So I go there, I find the playlist that was curated by who? Trojan Records. I go right to the source, and they go, and they make it easy. They're like, here are the top 50 classic 1960s reggae songs from our collection. I'm like, boom, thank you, Trojan Records. You made it so easy for me, and I just go right there, and they curated it, and I follow it, and I'm good to go.
Yeah, you're right. And I've always said like...
but if it's not from theirs, there is, and this goes back to your fake news, this goes back to your deep fakes. This is the theme is that I look for the blue check, or whatever tells me that this is from the actual record label. It's not just some guy.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's theirs. Okay, I'll get it from them because I trust them.
Yeah.
Well, that's what maybe people are suffering from to some degree, is that, information used to be curated. Like it or not, whatever the bent or, spin was that the news media companies had, they still had control over editing. They filtered out stories that maybe were less reliable. They filtered out information that was less valuable or that was not good for the public as a whole. They filtered it out, and what arrived to the public was curated information, and it kept the window of dialogue, the Overton window, it kept it within a reasonable zone for reasonable people. And what's happened now is that filters off. The Overton window's opened wide up now, where unreasonable positions are taken and then get exaggerated because they're clickbait. Nobody's curating the information, and it's difficult. People are struggling and drowning trying to sort out what data and information's reliable and what's not, and they're overwhelmed and drowning in options.
Yeah, 100%. And the whole idea of society was like, our fucking Constitution and everything was written not understanding that there would be a thing called the internet one day. And so this is throwing a wrench in the way we've communicating and the way that you even speak and who you're speaking to, and your ability to con people or trick people or put out false information. It's like
the funny thing is, the authoritarian countries are reveling in this. They have limited options for people. They have filtered the internet.
Right.
They have limited people's choices and limited their freedom severely. And they're relishing this moment that Western civilization is having. That free countries are having. But
Yeah,
So,
because dictatorships have always done that. They've manipulated the information that they give to the
control
people.
the message, you're the most powerful.
Yeah, you control the message. Yeah. So they're laughing because they're still able to control the message to their people. And meanwhile, we have this freedom to get any message
and
we
we're
want.
old fake news Johnny.
And then we're freaking the fuck out because we don't have the government controlling. Like, tell them what they need to hear to keep them fucking under control.
Yeah.
And as Americans, we're like, fuck that.
And we have the ultimate manifestation of the Dunning-Kruger effect. You know, that's the idea that everybody's an expert in everything. It's where people that are they have like this cognitive bias, and they believe that they're smarter and more capable than they are, and they believe therefore that what they've got to say is more valuable than it is. And you know, they're everybody's platform now.
Yeah. So it is amazing because someone will be like, I don't think that's right, and be like, what? Based on what? Who are you? Like, you don't know nothing. Like, why do you, like, just because you think something's not right?
Well, have you ever asked that question to yourself? I do it all the time when people have put something online.
I'm guilty of it.
And I'll look at myself. No, I'll look at myself and I'll be like, because I'm like, I don't know about that. And then I'm like, but why do you feel that way? And it's like, I have nothing to back that up.
Yeah.
But that's the thing about Dunning-Kruger is that people with low ability lack the skill to actually realize they don't know what they are talking about.
Yeah,
they don't even have the self-awareness or ability to know that they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, the biggest dodos are steadfast in their beliefs for no reason. They're double down, and they're like, nothing will convince me otherwise.
I'll
like,
die
why?
on my big dumb hill.
Yeah, like, why?
That was why Facebook is literally the worst news source that's ever been created.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah. It'll be interesting how it all.
That's why I use Newsmax.
Fleshes out. Like our kids will look back at this age and laugh at how stupid we were, and they're like, you just let out the, like, I'm sure my sons and all of our kids are going to be like, you were letting just people all this false shit, like, how does society live like that? And we're like, it was horrible.
Wasn't it scary, Daddy?
Well, no, there is. So there is one idea though, and it's one of my favorite ideas. It's Oliver Wendell Holmes. He had this dissent in the Abrams case, right? And that one of the most important things about it is that we have a society where we value free speech, and that in the end, the marketplace of ideas is what we need to have, and that the ideas that are worthy, they will work themselves out. They will prevail in the marketplace of ideas if you have the free exchange of information, and that's why it's so important that we continue to have free speech, and why we need to push back against these this movement that's occurring right now to kind of restrict speech, is because in the end I do believe that good ideas will prevail.
Yeah, and it's funny too because you go out and you talk to regular people face to face, or
it's a lot more positive and better. It's a better experience
in person, and you're like, wait a minute, this isn't the same as the internet. Like, people are pretty good. Everybody's good.
I have had more good experiences face to face lately. I can tell when people are smiling behind their masks and everything.
The same people that hate, the other side of the political position that they're on. I mean, you go talk to.
Yeah, they're all fine.
And then you're like, oh, everybody's just pretty decent people that want a good life.
You can't demonize people that have differing viewpoints. Like, we need those differing viewpoints because we need that to. I'm not talking about like hateful. People on the very fringes, but I'm talking about most people that are decent. We need those opposing viewpoints so that we can, sort it out and work it out. That's how things work, because sometimes things need to move a little bit more one way or the other. And you're right. Like, what we see online and in the news media is a distorted version of reality. The amount of people that take extreme political positions, let's just say, is I think it's something like 8%, which is, that's a lot, but in the scheme of our society, that's not most people. That's a very small percentage.
If you didn't have any access to the internet or no phone and just went about your daily life and you were a person that was super jaded and mad and thinking the world's going to end and this was the worst place you've ever been in, this is a horror, and then if you ended looking at that and just lived your life, you're probably like, nah, everybody's pretty cool.
Oh, no,
You
when
know what I'm saying? Like,
when I put
everybody's
my phone
pretty
down-
decent to me. Everybody's pretty nice.
When
and-
I put my phone down for I'm talking even vocal communication is fine. I'll put that in play.
Yeah.
Like talking on the phone. But if I do anything face to face and just around here and put my phone away, instantly it's a more positive experience. Instantly.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, I agree.
Everybody's pretty decent.
Yeah,
for the most part.
No real problems at all.
Like everybody's pretty polite,
waving,
and,
smiling. We're all in it together, kind of thing.
Yeah. So anyway, we gotta go, Steve.
Yep, agreed.
Been a good talk.
Good chat.
Yeah.
Good chat. And good luck on the book. I'm excited to hear about it. And when you get it finished, let me take a read.
Yeah, of course. It is going to be a long time.
All right, brother. Well, hey, give the family some love, man, and we'll talk to you soon.
I'm going to check out that recipe you posted yesterday, too.
Oh, pizza. He wants to make pizza burgers.
Oh.
It's got a lot of bologna in it, so buckle up, if you know what I mean.
Oh,
really? I didn't see that.
Oh, yeah.
My kids like bologna.
You
Me,
put
not so much.
you got to grind it in a chopper. You got to chop up the bologna.
All right, maybe I'm going to back out of this.
Okay,
We'll see.
well, it'll back out of you.
Is it good?
It's very good. Yeah, in fact, I gave some to Andrea's mom. She loved them. Andrea loved them. Maisie loved them. I mean, it's trash food, but it's delicious.
I found I found a folded sheet of paper in one of my books that has ingredients on how to make liqueurs, like homemade.
Oh, do it. Yeah, do that.
I don't need it that much, but I just thought it was a cool thing to find.
Yeah, it's also I love
finding little notes like that or old recipes. I've got a good recipe for candied pecans if you want it.
Oh, please. I think that's a good place to end is candied pecans.
They're delicious. All right.
See you, buddy.
Appreciate it, guys.
Later.
See you, Steve.
See you guys.
That is our good friend Steven Kramer.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get out of here. Oh, there he goes. We got to get out of here.
Yep. We'll take a break and.
Well, that's it for a gentleman's guy. No break here.
Oh, yeah. I'll say we'll go back to recording ACT.
Yeah.
But you guys know.
Yeah, we're always working.
Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. We had Canadian Josh on the line a little while ago, and somebody called in about this, and I'd never heard it before.
Hey, Tom, Dan, and Sam. Matt from Port Orange. Got a question for Canadian Josh. I just heard the Eagle 159 on his show state that Canadians are obsessed with Kraft macaroni and cheese. Apparently they call it Kraft dinner and they put ketchup on it and all kinds of craziness. So the only Canadian I know is Canadian Josh. So I want to know if he can give any truth to the Eagles' comments there about Canadians and mac and cheese, or dispel the rumors and he's just crazy as ever.
I've never heard that. I did not know that the Kraft macaroni and cheese. You a fan of the Kraft macaroni and cheese? Take it or leave it.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Mac and cheese.
Yeah, do your boys are they picky like my daughter is, though? Like, if my daughter goes to, let's say, like an Outback, if they make, like, a macaroni and cheese that's like a house-made, or it's, like, fancier.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah,
like
she
garbage.
doesn't like
cheese.
it. She wants the straight-up, tiny noodle, Kraft macaroni and cheese, the one that comes in the blue box.
Yeah.
If it's not that, then apparently it sucks.
Yeah. They like that the most.
Yeah, it's like you could put Asiago in there and cheddar. She don't want any of that.
I know Canadians like, poutine, like French fries and gravy, which is basically like a slop bowl. So
I don't even like the name of it. It's too close to poontang.
Yeah.
Poontine sounds like younger poontang, which, sorry, not down with that.
Yeah.
Can't be.
So maybe it's in the same vein as
Don't say vein.
the slop bowl of poutine. They like slop bowl of mac and cheese.
All right, it's Wednesday. I think we can draw a hard line here. We eat a lot of slop bowls.
Yeah.
And I think it's time to call out the slop bowls.
What do you mean?
Like you guys eating your Chipotle bowl. There's no way that's healthy. It's by the way, it's a foot by a foot.
Yeah.
And it's got 9 scoops of guacamole in it and triple chicken. There's no it's 1,000 calories.
It's less carbs. That's the.
But it's still 1,000 calories.
All if you took the rice out, then you'll be good.
No, they always. Everybody I see goes light brown rice.
Yeah. Don't worry about calories.
I don't even like the rice.
It's all carbs and sugar. Just if you stay away from that, that's it.
But let's see what else I got here. Oh, monkeys. Remember the monkeys you were talking about a little while ago? Well, they're back.
Hey, Tom and Dan, Sam and Butler, BDM James from Jacksonville. Just listening to you guys talking about the macaque monkeys. And me and the wife got into a debate about this one day. I didn't know anything about it. She schooled me on it. She said that they've been spotted as far north as Jacksonville, where I am, into like, say, Orange Park, Middleburg, Green Cove, which are all suburbs of Jacksonville. But yes, they have a deadly strain of herpes, which is deadly to humans, but it doesn't kill them, obviously. There's a big article on this. I looked it up because I was fascinated by it. And it turns out they were brought to Silver Springs back when they used to film Tarzan there. And the guy who brought them put them on this island thinking, well, I've got monkeys secured on an island. Well, little did he know those monkeys could swim. So there was that release. And then there's been a couple others of some other types of monkeys.
So basically, we're just releasing animals into areas they shouldn't be, and then they thrive.
Yeah.
And then these monkeys and I guess it's deadly? I didn't know there was deadly herpes.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about herpes, though, arguably. I don't know anything about it.
I've never heard anybody say that there's a form of herpes that could kill you. Maybe it could. I have no idea. I've never heard of that. I've never heard that any sort of herpes in any simplex number
That's a little more scary.
Was deadly to humans.
I mean, herpes used to be a joke. I thought you just go across the street, you get your Abreva, you smear it around your lips, you're good to go. Now you can die from it. I'm worried about it now.
No.
Good thing I'm a married man.
I've never heard you could die from it. But the monkeys. So they all started there, Silver Springs Island or whatever that is.
Supposedly, yeah.
And then they just got into the woods and then multiplied in invasive species.
Yeah,
I'm surprised.
They could swim, so they hightailed it out of there. And
because it gets pretty cold in Jacksonville, but I guess the monkeys, they can warm themselves. It's not like they're
build a
reptiles.
build like a hobo fire.
Or you could probably, I guess depending on where they're from in the world originally, it may get that cold again. I don't know. What other problems besides the herpes they carry?
I think they're aggressive, is what I've heard. They can be a bit aggressive.
But I've never how many monkey attacks or
why don't they just go in? I know this maybe sounds a little inhumane, but if something's been released there and it's not helpful to us or them.
Invasive species.
Yeah, I'm surprised they don't just go in and kill all the herpes monkeys.
Well, again,
because it's not like they don't want to have herpes, they don't want to bite people, and we don't want them biting us.
Yeah, but
giving us deadly herpes.
But they
so we killed them.
Well, first,
because they're just herpes monkeys.
I don't think. How many humans have they attacked? Probably next to no one. Because I've never heard this, and in this day and age, if there was monkeys even attacking more than one person, it would be an epidemic, and it would be the damn murder hornets or something. They could be all over the news.
Murder monkeys would be terrible.
And even
that's way scarier than hornets.
Even with black bears, they were just nuisance, like getting into people's trash and like getting into suburbs and stuff as people encroached into their natural environment. And then they opened up a bear hunting season, and a bunch of people are mad because they're like, well, we got to thin out the population of these, which is kind of sad because really they were causing problems and like nuisance animals to humans because they were, we were moving closer into the forest they live in. So, but I've never heard anything about nuisance monkeys, really. I've never heard about.
Yeah, well,
so that's why
I'll get a little more. I'll get a little more info into it. I think maybe there was a problem, and I think that some trappers probably took care of it and relocated and/or euthanized the ones that were problematic.
Yeah, I know that's with nuisance animals. They don't relocate them normally. They just put them to sleep, and
which is sad,
like raccoons and things like
because it's not their fault. I mean, we all know that, right? It's not their fault. I'm just saying it's not unreasonable. I think to, things got out of hand.
Animals will get the easiest source of food possible. Like that's how they survive. Mm-hmm. So the garbage can full of humans,
skulls. Oh, I thought you were going to say a garbage can full of human skulls.
Our food waste, they're just going to go to that every
Yeah.
single time.
That's what hobos do.
Why would they, spend any more effort doing something harder than just going to a garbage can? They know there's going to be some food in there.
They're not going to do it. One more. Here we go.
Hey, Tom, Dan, Samantha, and Travis. Mike B here. You were talking on one of the ACTs this week about sleepovers and going and visiting your friends and staying over at their house. And I remember when I was probably 11 or 12, I went to spend the night at my buddy's house, who I had known since kindergarten, and his family was basically like my second family, and I spent a lot of weekends over there. But my dad dropped me off one weekend, and I walked up to the door, knocked on the door to start the weekend with my buddy and have a great time, and no one answers. So I give it a beat, and I knock again, and no one answers. But I know these people pretty well and know that they're probably not going to mind if I just go and hang out on the back porch, so I proceed to mosey around towards the back of the house. So I get around to the back of the house and round the corner and peer into the window, which I find out is my friend's parents' bedroom window. And right through the window is my best friend's mother, who is butt naked. I scream and drop and fall to the ground, trying not to be seen. And I'm almost pretty sure she did see me. But I crawl around to the front of the house and wait for my buddy and his dad to get home. Don't say a single word to him about what I've seen or what happened. And I'm pretty sure that I caught his mother giving me the glance a couple times that says, I know what happened.
Well, she would say something, right?
But, yeah. So.
She would say something. She's not going to just keep it, this is our little secret. I mean...
If she was like me, I would never say anything.
That's true. I always assume, I do the same thing you do. I assume everybody's going to be like me and just be like, hey, what are you doing over there? You're like, get out of here. Get out of the bushes, Mike B. I see your hideous mustache sticking out of the bushes. You're 10 years old. You have a long Lorax mustache.
Yeah, something I would just be like, let's just never mention this again. And that's what maybe she...
Well, then but I don't think, you wouldn't, because even the mentioning of let's not mention this again is too much
No, I'd
for
say
you.
that in my head.
In your head,
I
right,
wouldn't
right.
tell the person.
No.
I would just hope that they would just never mention
You would
it.
try to send it to him through mental telepathy.
In 20 years, don't call a podcast and tell them. Don't tell no one. Yeah.
Especially one I listen to. Yeah. It'll be in Orlando. We got to take a break. We'll take one. We'll come back with more A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan right after this.